So I just popped down to the allotment to do some planting and some clearing up, and I found it's all frozen, so I'm going to do you a tour. Well, we don't really get many days like this in winter, so it's a gorgeous day for a tour. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try and give you an idea of the rough planting plan for the plot. And I say rough because I'm always changing it. So we'll start here. So this is purple sprouting broccoli, and this won't be finished until sometime in May, and we normally have to pull it out a little bit before it's finished in order to get the next succession planted. But this year we're not, because we're putting beetroot in after here, and the beetroot we're putting in are the ones that we want to store, so we'll only be putting them in June. Now traditionally I've always done this in July, but what I've found is that there's not enough time to bring them all to full size from July to October, so I'm going to give them an extra month. So yeah, purple sprouting broccoli, beetroot, and we'll have more beetroot of course in other beds for eating fresh, and you'll see those soon. So these are really deep coal frames. They go down about 18 inches, so I think they're going to be perfect for carrots. So I'm going to try carrots after this lettuce crop. So in May I'm going to put Eskimo carrots in here, and they're a storage carrot, and they're going to have a lot of time to mature, so I will be planting them quite densely, and I'm hoping that this will be, quite a substantial proportion of our winter carrot supply. So at the moment they've got spring lettuces in, that's Navara, that is Marvel of all seasons, and then down here I've got my furthest on carrots. So I'm hoping to start harvesting these in April. There's not a huge amount. Germination was slightly patchy, but I don't think I'll do carrots in the ground again. I think these beds are just too valuable, but I just wanted to try it out and see what happened. And I've got down there, I've got some lettuces that are almost ready actually for harvest, so in about 2 weeks I'll start harvesting those. So then in April I'll be planting out my early baking potatoes in both of these, and they will be staggered by a few weeks, because this bed will come free first, and then this bed hopefully will come free a couple of weeks after that. And again, because they're quite deep, the potatoes can go really deep in these beds. I can close these lids, keep them frost free, so they should grow in here in a really nice sunny warm environment, ready for harvest in July. So then in the little greenhouse, that's where all of my chili peppers are going to go. So I'm quite looking forward to that, because we've never used the greenhouse for chilies before, and I think it's going to look really nice, full of them. They're so colourful. And then this bed's just finishing, so that is early purple sprouting broccoli, so that's going to get replanted to broad beans. There's a few spring cabbages there, not sure what we're going to do with those, whether we'll leave them in or not. Then that bed will all be cleared in probably July for runner beans and French beans, and we're planting those a little bit late because we have loads of early runner beans and French beans in the polytunnel, so we don't need to worry about the early crop. And then this bed's currently got spring cabbages and the last of our Courgettes on the allotment, and we've got about 6 weeks of harvest out of these Courgettes, and by then we'll get a decent little harvest out of these spring cabbages. Obviously there won't be much heart on them, but the leaves will be fine, and at that point we'll clear this bed and this will get replanted again with brassicas. This time though it's going to be half will be early kales, Tuscan kales, quite a few different varieties of those, and some dazzling blue. And then at that end will be are early Brussels sprouts, which we grow really densely for leaves, and they'll need some protection because we normally plant our brassicas out in May, so we're going to put a little low tunnel over these to protect them, to make them think it's May even in March, and as a result of that they should be ready in May, which is when all of our overwintered brassicas, pretty much apart from the spring cabbages, are starting to finish. So then we take that lid off then in late April, early May time, and we move it onto the French beans. You'll see those in a minute. And here we've got 2 lettuce beds. One of those will get replanted to spring lettuces, and then we've got a kale bed. This tunnel is not strictly necessary at this time of year. These would be fine, but we do get a slightly higher growth rate with the tunnel, but it's really just for storage. Anyway, that tunnel is the one that's going to go over those early kale plants, and then this bed is going to be in May time, when that tunnel is taken off again. It's going to be French beans, and then we've got second early strawberries implanted with garlic. All the garlic's just coming through now. I'm always pleased when I finally see the garlic arrive. And then those, I only planted those about a week ago, maybe 10 days. So those are all spring cabbages, looking a bit scrappy, but not too bad. And there's this little mesh tunnel over them normally, and then we've got some tatsoi there, that'll be coming out soon. Spring lettuces, and then these spring lettuces will be being cleared in very early spring, and Calabrese Marathon will be going in there. I've actually got the plants just starting now, and they'll be ready in about 6 weeks time, when that lettuce is all finished and all those spring onions have been harvested. And then in there's some straggly remnants of chard, but that bed is going to be early peas, sugar snap and mange tout. That's the asparagus bed, and there's a lot of space down the centre of this asparagus bed here, so I'm going to plant spring onions in there because they'll be harvested before the asparagus is left to grow to maturity. Spinach in here. We'll keep this spinach going as long as we can, but we'll start interplanting into here radishes and turnips and things like that. And then this bed, I think, is going to be sweet peppers. And this is all baby kales, which I'm hoping will keep going until early May with a good leaf crop, and then we'll have all those other early things, the spring cabbages, the Brussels sprout leaves, the new kale leaves, perennial kale leaves and all that sort of thing. So loads and loads of brassicas, as well as Calabrese and cauliflowers and the like. And then that is going to be sweet peppers. So this bed is currently spinach and field beans, and that is going to be all of the winter colettes and Brussels sprouts. So it'll be 2/3 colettes and 1/3 Brussels sprouts, because we like colettes more, they're more productive. And then that bed is currently field beans, which we're harvesting every week now, and it's going to be the main onion bed. We will have 2 or 3 additional onion beds, but right now this is the main one, and it's going to be half shallots and half onions. And then this is elephant garlic, apple trees and a cherry tree, and it's also our I don't know whether the right term is ever-bearing, I think, strawberries. So these are the ones that go all the way through till the end of August. They don't seem to go much beyond that, so they're not that ever-bearing, but still they're quite late. And then these two containers are going to be courgettes. That one's spinach, that one's perpetual kale. And then these beds are old lettuces now. They're not going to last very much longer, basically just until they get replanted. And these are going to be, right, let's get this right, turnips and radishes in that bed, I think. And then after that, they're going to be New Zealand spinach, both beds. And then these are going to be bolt hardy beetroot and golden beetroot. And then after those, there's going to be golden purslane. And no, I didn't do that one, so that's a lettuce bed. That should be ready in February. And this is an experiment that I've been running, so people have been following along to see what the progress is like. So these were planted out in December, and I really like that planting timing. You know, you can get an extra crop, autumn crop, before the lettuces, then put lettuces in December, and then you get them back in February. So that's a good timing. And then down here, these are our winter carrots. So these are orange carrots, these are yellow and purple carrots. Note the difference in the foliage. Oh, and then those are going to be, I can't remember now. Sweet peppers, perhaps. One of these beds, either that bed or that bed, is going to be sweet peppers. And then down here, these are overwintering onions. These are tough ball, so those are going to be ready in June, early July. And then when I harvest those, and I do them all at the same time, that's going to be winter cabbages. And then this is going to be spinach. It just needs weeding. I just finished harvesting it of its carrots yesterday or Sunday, and that's winter carrots. And so that will all be cleared and replanted with spinach, and then after the spinach finishes, that's going to be all red cabbages. And then I've got some gooseberries here, and then this is currently field beans. There's nothing else in here apart from couch grass. You can see it coming up there. Into this bed I'm going to put perennial kales, so the same kale as this one, but I'm just going to put them in just as an annual, so they're just going to be in from March until June, and then I'm going to harvest them really strongly, and then in June they're going to come up, and that's where I'm going to put my sweet corn and Crown Prince winter squash. And it's basically the same story all the way down here, sweet corn and Crown Prince all the way. It's all currently got field beans in it, and it's all interplanted with something. So some of it's interplanted with red onions, white onions and garlic. And then on top of the IBC tanks, we're going to go carrots. I'm just putting pallets on top. I was going to put some plywood on top, but I think the pallets are a much better solution. And that one is no good, it's too big. So I'm looking for another one like that one. And then all the way down the edge of this path, next to all of these frames, there's going to be a run of potatoes in containers, and then all the way down this storage path there's going to be ochre in containers, and there's some ochre there, and it looks pretty awful, but it's kind of amazing when you take those out, when you empty them out. The ochre harvest is fabulous, and so I'm going a lot more ochre than I did. I think I had 10 containers. I think I'm probably going up to about 16 containers there. Let's take a look in the Polytunnel. And I've gone over this quite a few times now in videos, so I don't want to dwell on it. But I'm just currently replanting all of these lettuce beds to calabrese and cauliflowers and early Brussels sprout plants. And then I'm replanting all of this spinach bed progressively to carrots and turnips and beetroot, and some of the goodies which don't come to mind at the moment. And there's some of my little seedlings just waiting to go. These are my second early carrots. These are my first early strawberries, and they'll go up like this. And then first early onions, lettuces, spring onions, and then they're going to get replanted with sprouts down the centres. Here they are. Some calabrese, some parsley, whatever. Then after late May, all of this gets replanted to cucumbers, tomatoes and melons. And then again in late May, after the cauliflowers and the calabrese and the carrots and the turnips and all that, this gets replanted to cucumbers and tomatoes. And then at the ends here, and then in the corridor, because there's loads of space, you'll notice in this corridor, that's where we have cucumbers in containers and late tomatoes and early French beans and early runner beans and courgettes and sweet corn and all of that. So, hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.